kisses. Morning kisses from babies. Oh, they love you. There's Mimi and BB. Look at mommy. Oh, Mimi, look at mommy. Hi, babies. They love you. They have narcolepsy.
I've always represented my name as Theta Omicron Theta, and Omicron confused me a lot because it would seem like it's Thoth. It would seem like that's how I should pronounce it. I should go Thoth, and that's not what I feel that it should be. It's there's some problem with it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I've always called myself Thoth, and people have brought it up to me every once in a while. I used to use the Thoth tarot deck, and then when they hear my name, they don't quite understand why I'm saying Thoth, or I was lying there with it, and I'm like, it's such a perfect expression. It has to be this way, and then I started to chant it, and I went and from the O sound, and and as I was doing that, and breathing that
In the night?
I was doing that. I heard the sound change. As it becomes deeper, it becomes the other sound. It starts at oath and to off, and then it ends with. And there are two sounds. They're not one. It's two sounds, because if you sing it through, there's it changes to the other. And then it reminded me of the nameless emblem that I always put in the, and it seemed to represent both. There's two in it, and it explained it all. It's two sounds. I use one of the sounds, and the other one is there too. So I can be either. So I just let people have whatever they need to have with it. The name, the walkabouts, full expression, the whole notion of how confident and how sure I am of my expression, and how I can bring it up in next to anybody,
Yeah.
any person who thinks they're so famous and they're so hot, against any DJ, and that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a thing in me that wants to take us to Bobby, to get some tickets to Bobby McFerrin's thing, because he likes to take a microphone through the audience and reject the microphone and then just go.
Mm-hmm.
If he's willing to open up the audience, then I am willing to open myself up. And that would be a really good thing, or maybe the guards would come down and chase us away. I feel like he would welcome us. Does that happen?
I don't. I don't
You
know.
mentioned it a few.
He does allow people to sing, but he comes to them with a microphone, and he brings them up to the stage and gives them a microphone to sing. And I don't. He just like anyone else, wouldn't know what to do with us.
Yeah, but it would be an interesting moment.
Yeah, and if it was filmed and people saw it, it would be amazing.
Because it seems to me that he's in certain places. Sometimes he's older now. I don't remember how old he is.
I think he's retired. That's what I think.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, is that he's living in Berkeley. He's living in that area, And he's doing those circle song things every week. That's when we heard that from Nate, like a few days before we left. He said they do it on Mondays, and we were leaving on Monday morning. It was just
over at the Freight and
Freight and Salvage, yeah.
Uphead.
Uphead. Buen dia. So this morning we were talking about primarily. Buen dia. We were talking about the fact that Thoth has played solo for the last 3 days, right? So I need to play solo too. Playing solo is an important aspect of independent creativity building. And we all know that Thoth can play solo. He's been doing it for decades. But I know I can play solo too. I've played solo several times over the years, and I have confidence. I know I can do it. But because we're together, it's always been complicated as to how we can have our own solo sets. So this morning we're just talking about that and how we can do that. It's cool, and I think we will, absolutely. Look at you. Did you do this? Cute, cute, cute. Hola, hola. ¿Dos? Gracias.
Are we sitting here?
No, you just stand there for the rest of the day.
Jokes.
I'm excited. The acai smoothie is really, really good. It's so pretty.
What is this right here?
I don't know. Yeah, pretty. Gracias. Ooh, goodness. Thank you.
Gracias.
Happily enjoying your breakfast.
Just watching other show movies. Or the entertainment.
Yeah.
Tomatoes repeated twice. Not on the
We're
bread.
having a good time. It's so sweet. Almost better.
Can you coffee now?
Yeah. This is really sweet.
It's funny how she's not doing it right now. Concerned with that first vaccine, and the reason I'm not going to take a big issue with it.
I started on a new piece after many days of being unable to, because I was frustrated with the last piece that I did. It depends on how good or bad I feel about the last piece I made for how long it takes me to do the new piece. And with this one, I wanted to be more experimental, which I was. I was very pleased with how I just let go and stopped being so obsessive, and I love how it turned out. I love it. It's so fun and free and experimental and cool. I feel really good about it. This thing that I made. This thing. I did that. I'm ready to go. I did that today. I did that in this afternoon. And it's so fun, and I love it. I love how it looks. It's so fun, and this took me like days. It was so frustrating, and I like it better. But it took so long, and it was so anal. This I like better. Hola. Isn't that cute? Hola. This is cute. Very sweet. This place is really cute. I want to say that the reason why I don't talk on the vlog while we're at dinner is because I cannot stand the music that's always playing, and I don't want the video to be copyrighted because there's always fucking music, cover songs playing. It drives me nuts.
Oh, I just had an epiphany.
I want to talk about this piece that I just did. This piece that I just made. I did this today, and I didn't film it on the camera so much because I noticed that I need to figure this out. It's how I can film myself without feeling like I'm limiting myself creatively. Because I tend to like to put it down in my lap and throw things all over and move it all around, and so maybe I could have something on my head. I don't know. But anyway, so this piece, and I think I'm going to draw some like heads or draw eyeballs or hands or something around it, just to prove to myself that I'm not just a abstract painter and I can draw. But this one, like this, I did this today in just a few hours, and it was so fun. It was so satisfying. It was so mythical and magical and there's all different kinds of, I'm using acrylic paints and all these little things, and all these just funny little acrylic paints that I got when we were in Guanajuato, which are fun. And then I have this little dinky little paintbrush, and then I have these little guys, which are great. These are water-based, what are they called? They're almost like watercolor markers, brush pens. They have these nice little thin tips, and if you put color on, and that's from the brush pen, and then you just put water on it, and it makes it this misty, magical watercolor kind of thing. And so there's a lot more to do with it. I wish I could. I think I need to photograph this one and so because I really like how it looks this way, and maybe I will end up just keeping it just like this. But anyway, this one as opposed to this one took me a week to sketch, and then like an entire day, just hours and hours and hours to paint. And so I know drawing and painting is just anal and it takes forever, and it's not like, oh, woe is me, it took me a whole day to paint something. It takes people months to paint huge canvases and years to paint the Sistine Chapel and whatever. So I'm not complaining, it's just, but this was not enjoyable for me. This process was not enjoyable. I was judgmental, I was critical, I was questioning the entire time, is this actually any good? And this one I didn't at all. This one I wasn't going like, oh, maybe this isn't good enough, maybe I should just rip it up and throw it away. I'm actually really impressed. I'm really impressed with myself for having painted something so abstract. And one of the subscribers recently spoke of pop surrealism as being how to describe my style, and I looked it up, and it is. But I want my style to be more like this, to be expressionist surrealism, pop expressionist surrealism, with faces and hands and bodies and shit, with this kind of freedom of expression, not this anal retention. You can just see the difference. This is just really anal. And it felt anal when I was doing it. That I was it doesn't sound right. It felt very obsessive, like almost OCD when I was doing it, and so did this one. You know, this one, when I was working on it, all the sketching the faces was very obsessive, just, wanting it all to look just so. And once I started painting over it, then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to have fun with it. And it's the same with this one. This one, when I was sketching in all the lines and painting in all the colors, I'm just going, oh. And then once I painted it, then I'm just free and I'm having a good time. So I want to be more abstract, and I'm just leaving this as a statement for myself that I would much prefer my art to be more abstract and more free. And what's interesting about the process of painting and drawing and sketching and doing art is that you grow so much when you go through a dark period. And this is true with art, period. It's true with art, music, everything, and in life. It just applies. It's so strange. It's so mythical and existential. And it's just a strange thing to realize that art applies to every aspect of life. That when you go through something that feels really icky, and this piece felt really icky to me. It just felt like I couldn't get the colors to work. I still look at it and go, oh, it's so it's just not very dynamic. It doesn't really have emotion in it. It doesn't have any feeling. It's not exciting to me. Whereas this is the opposite. It has feeling and passion, and because I was feeling it, I was just going with it and challenging myself and pushing myself to not make it so perfect. What's funny about art is that, like, this was very very pointedly detailed. Every line, every color, everything was placed in that place because I wanted it to be there. Why do I keep saying that? These are very where I'm just very, what is this word that I'm wanting to use? Where it's the desire for it to be perfect. That's what it is. It's this desire for it to look right and be right. And that's actually really detrimental for me as an artist, and I think for all creative people and for all human beings, is that it's really difficult to just make a mess, just to be messy, instead of it has to be perfect. What is perfect? What does that even mean with drawing? What does that mean with art? There's no such thing as perfect. It can't be perfect. And perfection is actually a killer in regards to art. And we all know this. We're not stupid. We know this is true. But we do it anyway. It's interesting because I have all these little pieces in which I can tell that I'm just being a perfectionist. And then there are these messy pieces. And I have a few of them throughout this book in which I'm not being so precious and I'm just letting it be a mess, which I love. I love all these messy pieces. They look cool. The pieces that I took a lot of time, and this one took a really long time to do, and I love it. It's fun and it's cool. But the ones in which I have given myself freedom to just mess around and be messy, those are the ones that I love the most, and those are the ones I have the most fun with. So perfection it's such a killer as a creative individual, and we need to fight against being perfect and it being just so, because there's no such thing as something being perfect. With art, that is the freedom of art, is that it can be whatever you want it to be. So I'm just making this as a statement for myself that I'm aiming to be more free and less constrained and less of a perfectionist in my art practice.